Welcome back to the NW Sportscast. Me and Drew on here on a late night show. It's Friday night, 2 days away from Seahawks football. It feels like it's been a long time. Really, it's only been 9 days, but it was a while ago. And we have some interesting news coming out of the Seahawks camp today. Drew Lock has been getting the first team reps for the past couple of days of practice, not because we are benching Geno, but because Geno Smith has a groin injury. So the groin injury could limit Geno on Sunday. He may or may not start. He's listed as ESPN as questionable. So, Drew, what is your take on your counterpart with the same name as you, Drew Lock? Do you think, first off, do you think the Seahawks are going to run him out there as the starter? And second of all, if they do you think that he's going to be effective?
I can speculate as much as the next guy if he will play. My guess would be yes. Pete Carroll made a statement saying pretty much saying like he can't tell for sure what's going to happen with Geno, and I don't like those odds because usually when a coach is leaning towards a player coming back, he will tell the media, and when a player is leaning towards no, he'll make a vague statement, and that's kind of what Pete Carroll did. I'm not going to rule it out. Obviously, again, just speculation. I hope Geno plays. I think the game is pretty much over if Geno doesn't play. He actually had a really good game against the Cowboys. Feels like a millennium ago when we played, but he had a good game. Put up what was it, 35 something like that points against the Cowboys. I don't know. I don't like our odds at all with Geno Smith. And without Geno Smith, I think this game is pretty much all but wraps. With that being said, Drew Lock, he's a very talented quarterback. He just makes the wrong decisions constantly. So it's not out of the picture for Drew Lock to string together a few plays. And I don't know. I mean, he still has upside in my eyes. The problem is his downside is it outweighs that exponentially. So I mean, this game is pretty much wraps in my eyes with Geno Smith. So without him, the odds are really slim. We get a win against one of the hottest teams in the 49ers, just beat a top 3 or 4 team in the Eagles by 20 points. It's tough, Levi. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think earlier on in the season, some people may have mistaked me saying we should have pulled Geno in a couple of those blowout losses for me saying we should bench him. That's never what I've been arguing for. I think Geno is definitely.
Well, you're pretty heated.
I was just
I,
saying
I can see
when we
why
were
people would say
down,
I can see
when
why
we
people
were
would say
down
that.
30-0, it would have been a
Geno Smith plays like a pumpkin.
yeah.
Geno Smith.
Well, I do still think sometimes he turns into a pumpkin, but I also think Drew Lock. If Geno Smith is a pumpkin, Drew Lock is like the rotten pumpkin who has been abandoned on the front porch, and it's 10 days after Thanksgiving,
Put
and the
out the
pumpkin is
eyes and
still
you
there.
put out the eyes and the mouth. You can kind of look into the mold.
Yeah,
It starts to turn
it's
green.
still there. It's Christmas time, but this family has just not thrown. That's kind of a mean comparison. So I'm sorry if you're a Drew Lock fan out there, but the point is, I don't think he's that good. We saw him play a little bit against the Rams. He threw a not a great interception on his part. I will say this: maybe the one thing that could give us be a saving grace, maybe the 49ers defense just says, "Oh, we just beat the Eagles. We just beat the hottest team in the league, and now we have to face Drew Lock." And they may just take this game so lightly, and maybe that is what gets us back into it. I don't know. It's not. It doesn't inspire a lot of confidence.
No, it doesn't. And just this makes the Rams loss even worse because
Oh yeah,
7-5 compared to 6-6 is an entirely different season. It's going to be tough to come back from this. You got the Niners and the Eagles next. Most likely 2 losses. Look, I'm not going to rule them out. Pete Carroll has never lost 4 straight games. This would be the first time as a Seahawk head coach that he would lose 4 straight games. But I see it happening. He went on Brock and Sock 7-10. I would go give it a listen. It was a super interesting chat over there. And he pretty much said, count us out. But when we make the playoffs, and he said exactly like that. He said, when we make the playoffs, not if we,
yeah.
when we make the playoffs, we will be battle tested and we will be ready to go because of all the adversity that they faced thus far. And sure, I can agree with that. But I don't agree with the when. I don't think it's a when. I still think it is very much an if. And right now, it's looking like a doubtful.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now, and I could be totally wrong about this, but the way the Packers are playing, I think they're in. So that means it's down
I
to
would just, you can't just say the Packers are. I mean, the Packers have shown
they
up and
just beat
down
the
the
Chiefs.
entire season. Sure, they
Let's
beat,
go. I mean, I think
and the Cardinals beat the Cowboys.
let's go through the games though, and let's be reasonable. Okay. So we've got Green Bay. They play the Giants next. The
It's a win.
Giants coming off of a bye. Do you think they win that game?
It's a win. It's a close win. I don't think Jordan Love is that good of a quarterback. I know he's
Yeah.
played good, but you've
I
seen at the
think
start of the year. At the start of the year, he looked
I
unwatchably bad.
agree. No, and I don't I still wouldn't say he's amazing, but I think he's on a hot streak. I would say okay, so you say they win that, then they play Tampa Bay. I think they might lose to the Buccaneers. I think it's fair to say they could lose to the
Obviously, you can give a loss to them at the Buccaneers, but if
But
you're
then
looking
after the Bucks, they
straight
play the
odds,
Panthers.
that's straight odds. That's a win in the Bucks and the Panthers. I mean, this is a pretty easy schedule to
Then
finish.
it's the Vikings. The Vikings beat them the first time. Do you think the Packers get revenge? It is in Minnesota. I think I'd give that to the Vikings. And then they play the Bears. I think they'll beat the Bears. So the Packers,
They actually are in. I think they are in. Yeah.
from my perspective, Packers are 9-8. Okay. Then you got Seattle. Seattle, okay, let's say we lose to the Niners, lose to the Eagles, and then let's say the best case scenario happens and we win out the rest of the way. So now we're 9-8. Then you've got the
That's with a loss, and that's with the Packers loss to the Buccaneers.
then you've got the Vikings. The Vikings play Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders.
It's not a guaranteed win.
Not a guarantee. I would give them that. I think they would lose to Cincinnati though. And then I think they play the Lions twice. I think they probably split with the Lions. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Again, we got the Vikings 9-8. And then the Rams, also 6-6. They play the Ravens. That's probably a loss. But then they have Washington, the Saints, and the Giants 3 straight.
They probably win 2 of those 3 games.
It feels to me like the Rams, Seahawks, Vikings, and Packers might all tie at 9-8.
Yeah, and in that case, the Rams have tiebreaker over us, and then it would come down to what?
According to the projection website that I'm looking at, that website puts the Vikings and Packers in. The Rams is the 8 seed, and the Seattle Seahawks as your 9 seed in that scenario.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Obviously, nothing set in stone. Also, the Saints are also only a game back. They're 5-7. The Saints and the Falcons. The Falcons are 6-6. Maybe they both end up going 9-8. That's possible too, because the Saints schedule. The Saints have the Panthers, Giants, Rams, Buccaneers, Falcons. They could win out. So they
could, yeah. So let's refocus on this 49er game because there's a lot of variables still to be played. But again, that flips on their head if the Seahawks can go in to the 49ers house and get a win. It would be absolutely huge. I've seen Pete Carroll pull off upsets like this before. I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be absolutely and utterly shocked. This is a team that still has a lot of playmakers on it. DK Metcalf just went off for 3 touchdowns, had one of his best games. Geno Smith, if he plays, I think he's on the up and up. It's going to be hurting, K9 and Charbonnet on the injury report once again. But I want to see this game. I'm not going to write this one off yet. I would put the 49ers at, plus a touchdown, maybe even 2. That doesn't mean the Seahawks can't go in there and shock the world.
Yeah, we've shocked the world before. I will say Pete Carroll, he's done it before. He shocked the world in his first season as head coach against the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs. So it could happen. But it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. I mean, let's transition into more of a little bit of a pregame.
It's gonna be very tough.
What would you say? Keys to victory here.
We have to play borderline perfectly. And when you play good teams, you're already kind of behind the 8 ball. You have to play perfectly, and the other team's allowed to make mistakes. We saw that against the Cowboys. The Cowboys made a lot of mistakes and we still lost because we also made mistakes. The
Yeah.
49ers played almost perfect against us, made a couple mistakes here and there. And the way we needed to win that game was to be perfect, and we weren't. Everything has got to go in line. Geno Smith, I don't think he can turn over the ball once. I think he has to convert, two-thirds, two-thirds of the time he goes and has an opportunity to convert on third down. I think he needs to go and do that. I think that the defense needs to hold this Brock Purdy-led 49ers team to under 20, 24 points to have a chance. A lot of things have to go correctly. It all starts with the game plan from Pete Carroll, Shane Waldron, and how this defense is going to respond to a 49er team that's looking really, really good on offense and just as, if not better, on defense.
Yeah, this is a very complete 49ers team, and just directly match up the player wise, they've got us in most categories. So they've got us at quarterback. McCaffrey definitely better than I don't even know. Is Charbonnet gonna play? I don't think Kenneth Walker's playing, so our running back situation is still very much up in the air.
It'd be a DJ Dallas, Kenny McIntosh type day.
Yeah, that obviously 49ers have us there. I think the wide receivers, we have them. But
That's arguable.
I'd take Kittle over our tight ends. I'd take their offensive line.
He's picked over wide receivers really fast. Ayuk has had one hell of a year, and Debo is one of the most electric players.
Yeah.
Even there, I would take the Seahawks. But
I think if I was saying you want the top 3 receivers from both teams, I would take DK, Ayuk, and probably
Debo.
Close. You're right. Right now, but I think Jackson.
When you look at top 3 receivers on both teams, I would take the Seahawks because JSN has looked really, really good the last few weeks.
They don't really have a number 3 receiver.
When you look at top 2, though,
it's
Ayuk, I think they're up there with Tyler and DK.
I would put DK over Ayuk, but I'd put Debo over Tyler right now.
Okay.
I think it's close. But then the thing that really sets them apart, and this is something we've talked about a lot this season, the 49ers get to the quarterback. 2 really good pass rushers, and Nick Bosa's been having a down year from his standpoint, and he's still one of the best in the league. And Chase Young, since he got there, their pass rush has been much better. They have a really good defensive line, and our defensive line kind of struggles to get to the quarterback. Brock Purdy, when he is not being blitzed, he's the number 1 most efficient quarterback in the league as far as expected yards per play. And when he is being blitzed, Brock Purdy is also number 1 and yards per play. So in that case, I don't even know if putting on pressure is going to even help, because the reason why he's so efficient when he's under pressure is because all he has to do is throw it to Christian McCaffrey on a little check down, and they're going to get 15 yards off of that, as we found out when we played them the first time.
Yeah, and they're really
the best insurance policy in the league.
They're what?
CMC is the best insurance policy in the league for a quarterback to have.
CMC is the most valuable running back that the NFL has seen in quite a while, because he doesn't just play the running back position. He can catch, he can block, he can make guys miss.
Yeah.
He's a really, really good player, Levi, and it's going to be tough. I don't think we can stop him. I think we can try to limit him. The problem is when you start limiting him, guys like George Kittle get open. And then when you start to, defend George Kittle, guys like Debo gets open. And then when you defend Debo, Ayuk gets open. And then when you defend all of them, Brock Purdy is back there for 5 seconds and runs for a first down. It's really hard to stop. And I'm not going to blame the Seahawks if we play badly here against the 49ers on defense. I'm just not willing to do that, because few teams have been able to stop the 49ers. There was a 3-week period where teams kind of figured out the Niners, but Shanahan, one of the best coaches in the league, he figured it out, and they seem to be back to their ways.
Yeah, I mean, those 3 weeks, one of those weeks was in the trudging through the mud and rain of Cleveland. The next week, Brock Purdy had a concussion the entire game and was playing through it. And then the week after that, they were missing Debo, and they were missing two starters on the O-line. Then they had their bye. They got Debo back. They got their O-line starters back. Purdy got healthy, and ever since the bye, the 49ers have looked like an unstoppable force. But again, if there's any team that can stop them, it might just be us because, we've played them in the past. We played them when they were good in the past and beaten them. Like there was those years when they had Kaepernick and they were, they had Jim Harbaugh was their head coach, and we were able to go head to head with them throughout those years, even before Russ kind of ascended to stardom. We were
Sure.
still going head to head against that team. And even, when in Russ's later days, the year when they went to the Super Bowl, we beat them in Santa Clara that year on a Thursday night, or I believe it was a Monday night football game that you and I listened to. I remember listening to the end of that game, and it was a game that we weren't supposed to win. We were 6-3. We were coming off a loss to the Ravens, I believe. They were like 11-1 or something crazy like that. Jimmy G was playing out of his mind, and we went in there, and Russ had that throw to Tyler Lockett, and we ended up winning that game in a close. We just gritted it out. So if any team can do it, it might just be us, because I don't know which other team is going to go head to head against these guys. If the Eagles can't, like, I don't know what other team is going to. I think they are probably still my Super Bowl team. It feels good saying that I picked them to win the Super Bowl week 1, and I still think that they're the safest bet. But at the same time, it also feels pretty crappy because it sucks, when your biggest rival is that good.
Yeah. I have a few
I wouldn't
stats.
be mad. I'll say this: I wouldn't be mad if we lost. Like I was mad.
No, I'm not mad with
the Rams game.
I'll be mad if we get absolutely destroyed once again. I think that's kind of unacceptable. But, if we lose by 10, 15 points, that's kind of what I expect from this game. A few stats to show how dominant this team is. McCaffrey leads the league in rushing yards. He's third in touchdown leaders across the entire NFL, not just running backs, just every position. Purdy leads QBs in passer rating, 116.1. That's 8 points higher than second place in Dak Prescott. Back-to-back weeks playing the number 1 and number 2 rated quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Then you look at points per game. San Francisco is third. Opponents' points per game. San Francisco is second. Total yards. San Francisco is third. Rushing yards. San Francisco is fifth. I mean, I can go on. This team is electric. They can do it on both sides of the ball, and they can do it on special teams. This is a full team. If Brock Purdy is the downside and he's about to win MVP, I mean,
yeah.
What does that tell you when the question mark of the team is about to win MVP? That is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, and that's a debate that we'll save for Coast to Coast Sports, whether or not he should be the MVP.
But Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott are right there. And what is the common thread in a 49ers, not winning the Super Bowl argument? Oh,
Brock Purdy, exactly.
Exactly. And he's top 2 in MVP voting. I mean, guys.
And I said, he's currently the best quarterback in the league when he's being blitzed. He's still number 1 most efficient quarterback.
He's outplaying Patrick Mahomes just straight up.
I honestly, I hate to say this, but I think my take about the 49ers finding the next Tom Brady is pretty spot on.
This is one of the most remarkable stories in NFL history, mystery relevant to now borderline MVP candidate.
Yeah, in 2 seasons. In 2 seasons.
I don't understand this guy. I mean,
and it's even more crazy because, like, in the past, it was not uncommon for a quarterback to come out of the 4th, 5th, 6th round and turn into a starter. But, like, in today's NFL, there's only 4 starting quarterbacks that I can think of who weren't drafted in the first 2 rounds. And that's Kirk and Russ, who were drafted in 2012. Dak, 4th round, 2016. And then Brock Purdy in 2022. So, like, in the past 10 seasons, there's only been 4 guys come out of the later round of the draft and actually turn out to be productive stars. I'm not counting Sam Howell yet. Maybe he'll be. But
he leads the league in all of or he's second in the league in passing yards behind Purdy.
Yeah, but the Commanders throw the ball more than any other team, so I'm not. I need to see a couple more seasons of Sam Howell before I can.
He makes less than $1 million at the end at the QB position. It's crazy, and that's part of the reason why
struck gold, just like the name of the team says.
Yeah, they
49ers They went hunting for gold and they found it from. Did he
In
go
the
to
same
Iowa?
season, they drafted Lance too.
The same season?
And I guarantee you, if this is the Seahawks in that same position, Trey Lance is still our starting quarterback. I think I
Yeah,
think we would have wrote it out. And that's just you got to give props to the 49ers. They're a really well-run organization. They prove it time in and time out. They're, quite remarkable. And it's going to be really tough to take them down. The Seahawks are going to need to play really well. Geno Smith is going to need to play. And if he does play, he's going to, he's going to need to make the right throws. He's going to make the right decisions, convert on third down, get DK involved early. Our offensive line with Abe Lucas back looked better last week, look a lot better. Down the stretch did not, that last drive, obviously there was on third and fourth down. Geno really didn't have a chance, just got blown up. But other than that, the offensive line looked much improved. So they have to play like that again. We hope Charbonnet plays. If not, it's a DJ Dallas, Kenny McIntosh style day. I like what I see out of Kenny McIntosh. I've said this for a while, went out and won, was the leading back in the Georgia Bulldogs last year, college football champions. He knows how to win. Let's see what he can
yeah,
do. JSN, let's go off. Everything's got to go right. Jamal Adams, straight off the Twitter controversy of a century, saying yikes to, someone's wife, which A is completely out of line.
yeah,
No clue why he was doing that. But he's got to come back and he needs to play good football. Him and
yeah.
Quandre Diggs have been seriously lacking. Look, if every
And that
unit
was a
played
big
well,
part of our defense.
it was a
Was
big
our
part.
two
It was a
safeties,
big part. It was a huge
highest
part.
paid.
Quandre Diggs, how many picks did he have last year? And how many sacks did Jamal Adams have a few years ago?
Yeah,
If you
they're the
combine
two
those two
highest
things,
paid players on our defense.
it's a completely different ball club. We've
Yeah,
gotten better at defense and we're playing worse. I think we're objectively better
from a talent standpoint, we should be.
and we're not showing it.
Yeah.
And our stars have gotten older, and
So it's true. Let's hear final score prediction.
sipping my water, thinking about this one. It feels, everything tells me this is not going to be close. 2 weeks ago, we got blown out on Thursday night. Then, last week we just lost a heartbreaker to the Cowboys. In the same time, the 49ers beat one of the best teams in the NFL. And now Geno Smith, our quarterback, may be out. And everything's leading me to a 49er blowout. I don't see it happening. I see the Seahawks losing close here. I see them losing 28-24.
Wow,
I, I,
that's pretty. That's a.
I think it'll
I'd
be
be
the
happy with 28-24.
I got burned last time I said this about the 49ers and the Seahawks, which was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I feel like the Seahawks, I don't see them getting really I don't see Pete Carroll getting blown out twice. And that could be naive of me to think, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think early in the game our defense is gonna bring it. I think 3-3 after the first quarter. This feels like one of those games where it's gonna start out kind of low scoring. Niners might get an interception, take another field goal, but I think our defense holds strong through the first half. Niners will get a touchdown towards the very end, and it'll be 13-6 San Francisco at halftime. In third quarter, we might actually score a touchdown. I'm going to say it's going to be 16-13 Niners going into the fourth quarter. But then in the end in the fourth quarter, we're going to have to ask our quarterbacks to make some plays. And instead of being able to do that, it's going to be 4th and 3. And the play call is going to be, let's leave Nick Bosa unblocked and dump it off to DJ Dallas. And that's when things are going to go awry, as they often do, because when the pressure comes, I do not trust Drew Lock at all to withstand the pressure.
You think Drew Lock played?
I somewhat would trust Geno, but I would not. I think it's looking like Drew Lock's going to play. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
In that case, I think Niners jump ahead. Final score prediction, I'm going to go San Francisco 30 and the Seahawks 16.
I like it.
The Niners tack on a garbage time touchdown in the end, just stat pad. They really do love to stat pad, the 49ers. I will say that. They don't let their foot off the gas, which I guess good for them.
Yeah. All right.
We'll wrap this one up.
That'll do it, guys. Thank you for watching. This was the NW Sportscast. Go check out our other channel, Coast to Coast Sports, if you want more content, not just Seattle-based. We also got Twitter, NW Sportscast. Levi posts semi-frequently. Instagram, NW Sportscast. If you made it all the way down this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We try to reply to most, if not all, the comments, and subscriptions really help our channel. A, we're trying to get 600 by the end of the year, and B, it puts the videos into your recommendations when you're scrolling YouTube, and that that really helps us out a lot. Thank you as always for watching. This is the NW Sportscast, and as always, go Seahawks.